Hi, I'm Jack Dunigan of thepracticalleader.com. Have you ever been disappointed when you thought you were going to get certain level of performance or quality from your employees or your associates and you didn't get it? Well, in today's episode in Lessons in Superlative Leadership, I'm going to show you how to fix that, how to get what you expect from your employees and your associates. Let's take a look. Let me tell you the story of an encounter I had. I was with a manager of a store. Actually, they had several. And we were stopping by one of their stores where they sold art from local artists and crafts from local craftspeople. And they had a small cafe as well in a very popular tourist destination. The store was reasonably sized, wasn't overly large, but it certainly wasn't a tiny little cubicle, and they did quite well. So we stopped off there to take a look at things. And the owner of this particular store went inside and was able to get the manager, who was busy, but he was able to arrange to take the manager around. And they walked around the store, and I just stood back and watched. And as they walked around, the manager pointed out this thing and this circumstance and that circumstance, and made suggestions about what to do and how to improve them. And the manager then set to work at changing some of those things. And as we discussed later after we left, I learned the owner of the store had made those expectations clear before, and he was coming back just to see how they were doing. Well, that's a key to getting what it is that you want. Now, let's take a look at this. You need to define your expectations. You can't expect people to read your mind, and that would be foolish, and it would be unfair to do so. So you have to be very clear about what you expect. And then you need to frame your expectations not in just what someone should do, but in terms of the results of what someone should do. In this particular case, it had to do with serving customers in their cafe and a certain level of quality of service and of the quality of the food that they were serving. And then also the artwork and how it was displayed on the wall, because the intent was, and this was an experienced merchandiser, this owner of this business was experienced. And so he knew that artwork needed to be displayed in a certain way, in a certain place if it was going to sell. And then he also understood that you couldn't hang something on the wall and leave it there until it sold. If it took days or weeks or even months to sell, you needed to move product around. Most merchandisers understand that they will move product around because people will visit more than once and they will see something that's been there and was there in their last visit, but they didn't see it, and now they do. So he was clear about what he expected of them, and then he framed those expectations, as is all of us who are effective managers and leaders understand. Frame those expectations in terms of results. So you train others to know why, not just what, because you're trying to develop capable people who have some degree of independent thinking, which we'll talk about in a future episode of Lessons in Superlative Leadership. You want other people who are working for you and with you to know why things are done the way they are in terms of the results that you expect, not just what they should do. You don't want people who cannot think. You do want people who can think, and they need to see inside your head as the most experienced one. Another episode we're going to talk about soon is the principle of line of sight, and just stand by for that. That'll come up in a few weeks. All right, so let's take a look about how this can work out. You need OnSite Insight. So you're coming into a place and you know what to look for, and you want to be certain that they know what you will look for. No surprises. We're not talking about the really terribly ineffective leadership style of leaving people alone and then coming in and zapping them when they fail to meet your expectations because they couldn't read your mind and they didn't understand what it is that you were expecting. I don't believe in that style, and it is highly ineffective. So make sure that you know what it is that you're going to look for, that remains consistent, that you're not in and out, hot and cold, up and down, but that is consistent time after time, and that the people who work for you and with you know what it is that you're expecting. Then look for it. When you go into the workplace, whatever it is, or you're looking at the product somebody's producing, whether it's widgets or whatsits, or whether it's reports, or whether it's sales figures, or whether it's a level of service for customers. It doesn't matter. You just need to define what you're looking for and then look for it. And then accept what you see as reality. Learn to trust your own insight and your own outside and your intuition, and you accept what you see. This is the way it is. So we're not dealing with intentions. We're not dealing with what somebody would hope would happen, and we're not dealing with somebody says, oh, I'm going to do that. We're dealing with exactly what is there. In this case, we can take a lesson from real estate appraisals. When you're getting ready to sell a piece of property, a real estate appraiser will come in, and he or she will evaluate or appraise the value of that property based on its present condition. They cannot and they will not produce an appraisal based on what you intend to do to the property, what improvements you intend to make. They must evaluate it based on its present condition. So do you. You base your evaluation on actions and results, not on intentions. Then you and the person that you're working with prescribe what to do next. And a very effective method is to ask them, now that you know what we expect, now that you know what is really here, what would you do next? The reason for that is you're trying to train these people to think in terms of the results and think like you do in your head. So together with them, I'm not a big fan of dictating, okay, you do this next, shaking your finger in somebody's face. That really doesn't work hardly well at all. Only in certain circumstances of crisis, of deep emergency, would you assume a dictatorial stance. What you're doing here is working and developing people, not just getting them to do a job. So you and the person or persons that you're working with will come to an understanding of what to do next and prescribe that. So here's the secret. To get what you expect, you must be careful and diligent to inspect. It's that simple. No magic bullet. No weird esoteric insight or understanding. Very simple, good, plain management style. To get what you expect, you must be careful and diligent to inspect. That manager did it in that store. You need to do it wherever your workplace is. The people are working for you and with you. You get what you expect because you're careful and diligent to inspect that. Thanks for tuning in to this week's Lessons in Superlative Leadership. We'll see you next Friday. Well, we hope you enjoy our weekly videos, Lessons in Superlative Leadership. And if you'd like to subscribe, click on the subscribe button just below this video. However, YouTube has made some changes so that even though you are subscribed does not mean you will get a notification. The next thing to do is to click on this little bell right next to it, and you will receive notifications every time one of these comes up. We'd also invite you to visit our website at thepracticalleader.com, where you will find loads of articles and other information to help you become an even more effective leader.